you feeling now that the list has finally been released?
I think that we've done the right thing. That's number one. As the diocese in October, the bishops of the state of Texas promised to publish names of those clerics who have been credibly alleged of having sexually abused a minor. So that's 15 dioceses throughout the state of Texas. And we wanted to make that commitment because we believe that it's the right thing to do. First of all, for the sake of the victims, those who are hurting, those who've been hurt by clergy, those that should have been protecting them and defending them. And so we wanted to make sure that they knew that we had heard them, we had heard their voices, and this was one way to respond to their needs. Hopefully this will bring about healing and will bring some movement in their lives to be able to move on with their lives. So healing is our primary concern. It's out of the victims that we're doing this, for the victims that we're doing this. That was number one. Also, if there's others who have been also abused by clergy, we hope that they now will be able to step forward and be able to come forward with their stories and share that with us as well, because the church has to be concerned for them too. Also to restore trust in the leadership of the church, because we have been suffering indeed in our church. And so this was one way of saying we want to restore that trust in leadership in the church. So that's very, very important for us as well. So it's a way for us to tell also our own faithful people that I'm very sorry for what's happened, for those clergy that have abused of minors. Even one incident is one too many. And so I'm hoping that all of us together will be able to stop this abuse of minors by clergy.
Can you walk us through this investigation? Who was the outside party that conducted this?
I'm not going to tell you the exact name of that group, but there was outside of the diocese, so they came as investigators. They came in, and we asked them to look through all of our files for 70 years and to be able to look at all of our files of priests, of deacons, of religious, men and women religious, and then to tell us which of these names would you recommend should be on that list. So they looked at that list along with our diocesan staff, and then they proposed those names. Those names then went to an independent body called the Diocesan Review Board, and that's made up of non-clergy and clergy. And together we looked at those names case by case, each one of them, and then determined which are the names that need to be published on that list. And so that was done, and that's where we came to this number of 22.
What do you say to those who believe that it's a conflict for the church to pay for those outside investigators to come in? They were hired and paid by the church.
I think, we would have had to do that, I think, asking them to come in from the outside and do that anyway. So I think we're doing it, in a good way. We've asked this group of investigators to come in and look at it, look at our files. So we're not trying to stop that process of investigation. We simply are saying this is a way that we believe it's the right way to do it.
Why not invite law enforcement in?
We could do that. We could have done that as well. But I think this is one step that's still in the step of the right direction. So I don't think at this point, any cases that we saw that needed to be referred to the law enforcement, we referred them to the law enforcement, so authorities. And we say it again now to all possible victims, please go to the authorities and report these cases. And then if you believe that we can help in some way in that process, then come to the church and we'll also be helping in that way.
Were details of all of the 22 clergy members on the list, were those details, all of them turned over to law enforcement, or only ones that you...
Only the ones that we deemed that it was necessary to do that. So we did not, turn like all of these files, you mean, over to the law enforcement? We did not do that, no, we did not.
There's no plans to do that?
At this point, not. At this point, not. Unlike in other parts of the country, we know that certain dioceses have been forced to do that by the Attorney General of the state, but laws differ in each state, so there's a difference of the way the law operates here. I think it's with district attorney, not the Attorney General, but it's district attorneys, the one, I think, is the one who usually handles those cases, and then I believe that they can ask for help.
In Texas, it is the law that doesn't matter who you are, you have a duty by law to report knowledge of sexual abuse of a child.
Mm-hmm. That's correct.
How does the church skirt that law, so to speak? If people inside the church have knowledge that they believe a child was sexually abused, how are you not turning that over?
I can tell you this. We would say to those people, you must go to the authorities and report this. So we never prevent anyone from going to the authorities and reporting these cases. That's the first thing that I would say to them is, please do that. Please go and say to the authorities, I have been abused by a clergy. And bring that case because you have a valid claim out of justice sake for that person. So that should be brought up and brought to the authorities for their review.
How were these, allegations found credible? What made them credible? Can you explain?
We reviewed the particular relevant information that was given to us, either by the victim themselves or other things, and then we determined that this is a reasonable, credible allegation that needs to be brought up. So that's the way that we determined that. And I think there's frequently asked questions, I think that's been given to you, so I think there's more details in that than that. So I ask you to refer you to that as well.
What's next for the victims?
I'm hoping healing. That really is what we're hoping. So the church has a responsibility to them. And any of these persons that's come to us, we always offer pastoral care. So we still have to be concerned for them because they still, in a way, belong to the church, and we have to care for those people. But also, the other thing is we have to take care of them psychologically. The pain, the trauma that they have endured, we also have to be concerned for their well-being. So the church has a responsibility to care for them and provide them with that healing that needs to take place in them. Sometimes that can take a long period of time. It may take years or a whole lifetime even. But that's the church's responsibility, to take care of these people who are hurting, especially by those that they should have trusted, the clergy that should have been protecting them.
One person on the list, it appears, is still active in, I believe, Jamaica. How is that?
That is a particular case, and I'm not going to get into the specifics in that case, but that should be probably something that should be brought up to that diocese. As you know, each diocese is independent, so we don't operate as though, in coordination. So that's something that that diocese determined to do. That's not something that we determined to do, and that's why we placed that name on that list.
Mm-hmm. There's no specifics in the list about allegations, the severity of those. Are you able to give us an idea of the range of?
No, today is about the victims. Today is about their concern and their healing and their well-being. And that's what the church is really concerned about today. So I'm not going to get into the particulars of what happened, what didn't happen, or even give that range, as you said, but more about them. Let's take care of them and let them know that they're being heard. And if there's others who need to step forward and come forward and report, then let them also have the confidence that the church is going to listen to them.
Today's list is about minors. We know the lawsuit of the 6 women who say that they were sexually abused. What about adults?
Yeah, today we're not going to talk about that. I really don't want to detract from those that have been hurt as minors. I think that's our focus today. That's very important, that we indeed let the people know that the minors are definitely need to be protected and taken care of. These are children, young people. These are youth that we have to take care of, and we're responsible for that. So today I'm not going to get into the particulars because that's ongoing litigation. So as you well know, that's going to take some time. So I'm not going to get into those particulars about that, the recent lawsuit against the diocese.
Can you give details as to, now that y'all have identified these clergymen and, I'm assuming as well as the victims, what other than just healing and prayer are y'all offering them? Counseling services? Is there a fund? What
Yeah, we definitely need to offer counseling. We offer to anyone who comes forward, steps forward and says, I was abused by clergy as a minor. We have to offer that. That's our duty. That's our responsibility. The church should be about caring people, especially those that have been wounded and hurting. We're talking about people who, at that age, were vulnerable. They need indeed to be reassured that the church is going to take responsibility for that. Hold those people accountable, and then also for us to say we have a responsibility, an obligation to reach out and help bring about healing.
Since 2002, have all reports brought to the Diocese of Austin regarding sexual abuse of a child, have those been reported to law enforcement?
Yes, those have been. Those are 3 cases where we had credible allegations brought against clergy. And I believe you may have those names there. I think it's one was a priest and 2 were deacons that were in that.
How can people trust that will continue to be the case?
In which way, I'm sorry?
In reporting any allegation to law
Well,
enforcement?
I would hold myself accountable that I'm going to continue to do that. That's my pledge. That's my promise as a bishop. That's what I want to do, is to make sure that people know that, not only in the church but outside the church, that we're going to do everything possible to be able to maintain that trust. And the only way that happens is if we're transparent And I think this is one evident way of being transparent, saying, we heard the victims, we then moved to do this because we think this is going to help them heal and move forward, and also to encourage others to come forward and report.
Do you think it is restoring faith in the church?
I pray that it does. That's my prayer. I hope it does. The church is hurting right now. My people are hurting. They're telling me they're hurting. They're suffering. And that pain is very evident. And so me as a clergyman, me as a shepherd, the bishop of this diocese, I have to be responsible to trying to take care of that. And that may take a long, long time to restore, but that's necessary. That's very necessary for me to do that. So I'm going to do everything possible to restore that trust in the church, in the leadership.
We're told law enforcement, local police departments is the first place people need to go, and they're the ones who have to launch an investigation. If they come knocking on your door, will you hand over the files that you have?
If they ask for that, this is what they're going to do. Those are particular issues. I don't know the situation, so it's all hypothetical until it becomes real.